Very special edition of Old School Scribe podcast. Great to have the prototype for the modern wide receiver, one Isaac Curtis. Kids, if he was coming out in the draft this year, the Jets would be all over him at number two. Isaac, it's great to have you on the podcast. Thanks for doing this. Happy New Year.
Well, Happy New Year's to you as well. It's good to be here. Good to be talking to you, Jeff. Hope all is well and you had a great holiday.
How's everything out on the left coast?
Everything is doing well, considering everything
right.
that's going on and the way this year has been going, and out here things are good. Me and my wife, we just kind of been staying close to home. There's not much you can do. We're still locked up here.
Well, the best to you guys, and so glad to have you on. There was a lot of buzz going on about the Monday night game we had here, and I don't know if you caught the game. Bengals beat the Steelers. So,
oh yeah, absolutely. If they come on a national televised game, I don't miss them.
Yeah, well, they were. There's always a lot of talk whenever about that first Monday night game, 1975, first Monday night game in Cincinnati, Riverfront Stadium, and I'll never forget the late great Ken Riley when I was asking him about it. He said it was like a personal track meet between you and O.J. Simpson. And in the middle of it, you had Kenny Anderson throwing for 447 yards. O.J. went for 197 yards. And if I'm not mistaken, you got hurt fairly early in the second half, still had 7 catches and 139 yards.
Yeah. That was a good game. I mean, it was a fun game, but, especially for a Monday night game. And like I say, with O.J. and Buffalo, it was exciting. I mean, it was exciting to be there. It was exciting for us to be on the big stage on Monday night, playing against Buffalo with OJ there, and he had a tremendous game. It was a good game. We were going back and forth, our offense and their offense. It was a great game to watch for spectators.
And then you going back and reading some of the papers, I guess you left on crutches. You had a pretty significant injury there, right?
I turned an ankle.
Who knows how many you would have had?
I actually stepped in a seam at the stadium.
Really? Yeah.
The old Riverfront Stadium where we had, of course, we had the baseball where they played the baseball as well, and
right.
Where the bases would go and where they filled it in with turf. You had these seams, and I actually stepped in one of those seams and twisted the ankle.
Wow. That was the first, like you said, that was the first time you guys had been on Monday night at home. And the Bengals weren't on much. There were not many teams were on at that point. It was still kind of new, even though it was the 6th year of Monday Night Football.
Right. Yeah. No, we were not on a whole lot of national televised games, but that was an exciting time for us to be on there. We were still a relatively young franchise. So, we were excited. The team was excited. I think the city was excited. It was a very good game.
I don't think folks realize either the kind of game back then. I mean, the Bengals were really at the probably threw the ball more than most teams at that time, but it still wasn't a lot. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know if you ever caught 50 balls in a season, but I do know this. First 4 years in the league, your yards per catch, 18.7, 21.1, 21.2, 18.7. And that's why I call you the prototype of a modern receiver, because you could run. You were a football guy who ran track rather than the other way around, right?
Right. Yeah. No, we didn't back then. I don't think I caught 50 balls. I think maybe the most balls I caught in a season, even back then, maybe 47 balls. I remember one season I caught 40. I had, I think, 40 catches and 10 touchdowns.
Right.
But we didn't throw it as much. We were more balanced offense. But Cincinnati, we had an offense that actually really put the ball up in the air. With Paul Brown there and Bill Walsh was our offensive coordinator and the quarterback coach and receiver coach. So we really put it up quite a bit. Of course, like I say, the game has changed a little bit. It was a little tougher getting down the field and catching
Well,
passes back then.
well, thanks to you, Isaac. It's not thanks to you. It's not as hard as it was because the story goes that Paul Brown was sick of watching you getting hammered, getting tackled across the field, getting hit down the field, and the Isaac Curtis rule, right? You can't touch you can't touch a receiver after 5 yards, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I would say that I never complained about it because that was just the way the game was played.
Right.
I dished mine out as well, but
right. Paul complained though.
But yeah, but yeah, I mean, the teams were able to do whatever they wanted to do as long as the ball wasn't in the air. I mean, I can remember we played the Dolphins in the playoffs my rookie year. And Essex Johnson, he broke down the middle, probably first offensive play we had from scrimmage. He got hit on his knee and he went out. And it seemed like the focus went on me. And what Miami did is they weren't trying to contain you with zone or run with you. They would come up and just cut me. Yeah. I mean, they weren't even trying to cover you. I've had a defensive back would roll up on me to try to hold me up, and an outside linebacker would come and try to cut me. And so you start getting teams that started to do that with receivers. If they couldn't cover them or contain them or contain them, what they would try to do is just basically take you out of the whole picture.
Pretty significant rule. I mean, that was a pretty significant rule, right?
I think it was really a good rule. It really opened up the game, and you can really see the difference in the game now. Because even then, it was still slow. It still took some time to get traction, but now you really could see it. I mean, some of the stuff that they call now, I'm like, that was a pass interference. I mean,
right?
But it makes it tough because you got guys that are so athletic and so fast. And if you can't slow them down and push them and after that 5 yards, it's tough to cover. It's tough to cover some of these guys. I tell you what, these defensive backs got a big job. Yeah. I take my hat off to them the way they have to play wide receivers today.
In Pittsburgh they call it the Mel Blount rule, and he was the great Hall of Fame corner, of course, for the Steelers. He was kind of a modern day type himself. He was a big man who played corner. How were those battles with you and Mel?
We had good battles. I mean, we would go back and forth. Like you say, Mel was a big guy. I used to tease Mel every now and then, especially after I met him my rookie year. I played in the Pro Bowl, and he was in the Pro Bowl with him. And I would tease him. I say, "What are you doing out outside with us little wide receivers, man? You look like a linebacker, an outside linebacker or an inside linebacker or something. You're so big." But he was a great player, but we had our battles. If he got his hands on you, you had to keep his hands off you, because if he got his hands on you, he was so big and strong, he would push you. He can push you around and really get you off your route. So you really had to work hard to get open when you played him. But
it looks like we got another great receiver coming. A second-round pick, another second-rounder, T. Higgins, who is about to pass your teammate, Cris Collinsworth, for most catches by a rookie receiver this season. And it's kind of interesting because you were a wily veteran when Collinsworth came in 81, and T is playing with A.J. Green, who is this generation's Isaac Curtis. So it's kind of an interesting thing at play here. What did you think of that gangly kid out of Florida when he showed up in 81, Cris Collinsworth?
I tell you what, you didn't know. I didn't know a whole lot about him, but when he got out there, you can tell that he was very polished. Kenny was not Kenny, but Cris was an excellent wide receiver. I mean, he ran excellent routes, and he was so deceptive, that I sit there and watch him because he was so long and lanky, and he had these long legs, and they come running at you, and he would run up on defensive backs and didn't realize that Cris could run. Cris was faster than what he looked because he was, he was so long and lanky and the way he ran, but he had good speed. He had great routes. He had good hands, and he could run all the routes. He was a great player and really we complimented each other. He took a lot of pressure off of me.
Well, he had your good friend Louis Breeden on. in a podcast a couple weeks ago and talking about his 102-yard return in San Diego. And then he got to talking about, and I think this is the same game where Chris and Danny Ross were laughing on the sideline because the Chargers came out and single covered you. And and you went nuts, and and Collinsworth and Ross were just kind of shaking their head like, what are they doing,
Yeah, they did that game. I don't know what the reasoning was for that, but I was happy for that, because usually I got rolled up on or double covered, or the strength of the zone would roll towards me. So it opened it up, and of course with Kenny and having the opportunity to go one-on-one, we made some plays, and I had a good game. It was fun.
That was a great offense. That 1981 team, probably the best team in Bengals history if you look at it, offense, defense. But that offense was something special too, Isaac. There was, you and Collinsworth, the receiver. Danny Ross was setting the team record at tight end. The running game was you could Kenny could make a run with a short pass. I mean, you guys could really do a lot of damage.
Yeah, we had Pete, we had Pete Johnson, Archie Griffin, Big Charles Alexander. So we had a lot going on back there. We had we had so much confidence in our offense, that offensive team. We just felt like we could score against anyone, but it was a good offense. It was a balanced offense. We can throw the ball. We had a tight end and Dan Ross. They can work the middle, and we had a great running game. We had Archie there and Big Pete Johnson, that get those hard short yards. But it was a really good offense, and we felt comfortable going up against anyone.
Now you finally, after for years of getting, because in 1970, after the 1975 season, I believe PB traded Charlie Joyner to get the big pass rusher, Coy.
Big Coy Bacon, yeah.
Right. And then that basically left you, pretty much a lot of, you had some nice receivers next to you, but, so when Collinsworth came, I guess it was, he helped take the heat off you, I guess, a little bit, right?
Yeah, he really did. Collinsworth took a lot of heat off of me, because he was such a great receiver, and coming from Florida and playing in that offense that he was in. He was ready when he came into the NFL. He was ready to play. And he was just a tremendous talent, and before that I had Billy Brooks was there, right. that also had came in on that side, right. From Oklahoma. But when Cris came in, I think Cris, we really gelled, and our offense really, that from the passing game, it really balanced out with Cris and Dan Ross.
What was it like with veterans? Because I know when you came in as a rookie, Ken Riley had been in the league, was a great player, been in the league for about 4 or 5 years, and he'd help you, right? I mean, he'd tap you on the helmet, right, and say,
"Oh yeah,
get up, Brooke," right?
Yeah. I got help from Ken, quite a bit of help from Ken Riley and Lamar Parrish. Yeah. They really worked me, and I tell you what, it really helped me being a young receiver to have cornerbacks like that. When I would, if I would tip my route off or give something away, they would come up and they would let me know, hey, do this or do that. I can tell what you were doing by the way you aligned and by your alignment, and,
right.
So they really helped me. Sometimes Ken Riley would come up to the line of scrimmage. If we, then we weren't in the 2-point stands a lot of times. Sometimes we were in that old 3-point stands. If you remember that one. And Ken would walk up to me, and I may not see him. I'm looking in, walk right up to me and tap me in the helmet. He said, "Get your head up, rookie." So, but they were a tremendous help, along with, of course, Charlie Joyner and Chip Myers that were there, the veterans that were there, and they were just, they were like coaches on the field, and of course they got into coaching, but they were certainly students of the game, and so I was very fortunate when I came in as a young rookie to have that kind of veteran support that really helped me out and looked after me.
Because I know Collinsworth said that you provided, leadership for him too, and he got some pretty good Isaac stories where he say he might have a practice, he might show up at a practice, and you might go, "I think I'll show the kids a little something today, maybe,"
Yeah, we would go on training camp. We would I would tease them and get especially the young defensive backs, when we get there, and tell Chris, say, "Yeah, I think I think we're gonna have class today. Let's get some of these rookies out here on us a one-on-one, and let's just show them what they're got to look forward to in this league." And we'd kind of school them and run some routes that they just weren't ready for at that time. But it was a lot of fun. We had some great guys on the team, great personalities, and we were all the guys got along with each other. It was just fun teams.
One of them we lost this past summer, tragically, Kenny Riley, your good friend, the great corner, should be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I think he will be one day. 5th most interceptions of all time. Actually, just looked at this the other day. He's got the most interceptions of any cornerback on one, for one team, because all those other guys have done it, did with 2 or 3 teams. And he was in Cincinnati for 15 years, still holds the club record for most games. I know he was a guy that not only taught you a lot, but a dear friend, that he was kind of the personification of. But to me, you and him are the embodiment of those 70 Bengals: class, professionalism, top shelf play on and off the field.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it. Well, Kenny was, he was certainly a role model to all of the young guys, because he when you hear that saying that pros pro, Kenny was a pros pro, and he brought that out to the practice, and he would sit down, he would talk with you, but he was just a gentleman, off the field, and just a professional on the field, and how he prepared and everything he did, and was a really good friend to so many of us. All those guys that played for him, we all love him like a brother. So he's certainly missed.
You of course played for Paul Brown, and I think what do you? You told me a great story once, I think, where your rookie year you had a big game against the Browns. Newsflash: I'm going to run through your stats against the Browns later, but you had a big game against the Browns, and tell me what Paul said to you. I think it was on the plane coming home, right?
Yeah. It was, well, actually, it was at Spinney Field. It was after our film session, and we were out on the field. But we had situations where during the game, I think something happened in one game, and he came up and he kind of got in my face, and we kind of pointed at each other, and he kind of turned and left, and he never really said too much to me, for pretty much of that season.
Yeah.
I dealt with Bill Walsh, but we played Cleveland that one game that I think we had to win that game. The last, I think,
rookie year, right? Is that your rookie year?
My rookie year to get in the playoffs.
73.
And that against Cleveland, I had 3 touchdowns in the first half. And so anyway, we end up beating Cleveland pretty good, and we end up getting in the playoffs. But at practice that next week, he kind of came up to me, and he walked up beside me, and he looked at me, and he goes, "That was something special." The way he
pretty
talked
good PB.
to,
It's a
and you know what? We were everything. We were okay for the rest of the time I was there, and he was there.
Is that right?
I really enjoyed it. I had so much fun, and he was great to play with and be able to play for. Such a legend in the game, and
you guys got over that. You guys got over whatever that was when you were a rookie. You guys got over that, I guess.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
How was he as a coach? Was he different as a coach than he was as a general manager?
Yeah, he kind of he kind of sat back a little bit. He kind of let his coaches, coach Bill Walsh really pretty much handled the quarterbacks and the wide receivers. And he would talk basically general when he wants to address the whole team, but just really one-on-one with the with a running back or a wide receiver, he would come and say, this is, what we need to look for. We need to have a big game. We need to do this kind of to motivate you and stuff. But he left just really just the coaching a lot to, his assistant coaches. He had a lot of faith and, trust in a lot of his assistant coaches. That's what I pretty much gathered.
Well, he's in the Hall of Fame, and we've talked about this a lot, Isaac, the Hall of Fame. There's only one Bengal who's in there who played his entire career, Anthony Munoz, which is ridiculous. We talked about your good friend Ken Riley. I think you're a guy who thinks Ken Anderson ought to be in, the quarterback.
Without a doubt.
And when I heard that the senior committee had nominated, instead of Ken Anderson or Ken Riley, had nominated Drew Pearson, I think Drew Pearson's a fine player, but he's certainly not Isaac Curtis. So I think we can throw you into the mix there too, as a guy that belongs. If Drew Pearson is in and Stallworth and Swan are in, then you belong. We've talked about this, and I think we've decided that it's a combination. It's small market. It's not winning. It's not winning a Super Bowl. I mean, I think that's what it is, right?
I think so. It's hard to figure out, but sometimes I think, well, maybe was a small market. Some of these, like Pittsburgh, these story franchises that had championships, or these Dallases. If you play on some of these programs in some of these big cities, New York and what do you call it, that have, is there more opportunity there for them than guys in the small markets, especially guys that are in wide receivers or running backs or defensive backs, guys in these type of positions. I don't know, because like I say, I look at Kenny Anderson, I look at his numbers and what he has accomplished, in his his whole body of work, and as well as Ken Riley, and then I hear people that say, well, if we would have won the Super Bowl, maybe Kenny Anderson would be in the Hall of Fame. Well, it's based on one game. I mean, you look at the whole body of work and what he's accomplished. You look at Ken Riley and what he's accomplished, and compare him to his peers and the guys that are in the Hall of Fame, and you wonder, I don't know the whole process. I'm just not real sure.
Speaking of body of work, you've got more touchdowns and catches than Lynn Swan, who's a Steeler in the Hall of Fame, and John Stallworth, his teammate. You have 17.1 career yards per catch, which is better than Stallworth, and probably is, I think, to me, the signature stat of your, you were a game breaker. You stretched the field, and so body of work, I think, in that division, it was tough. It was it was hard getting noticed, I guess, with being in there with although you guys always played Pittsburgh tough, no matter if you guys are bad or good, you always played Pittsburgh, whether they won the Super Bowl or not. It was always two great games.
Oh yeah, we played them tough when they had great teams. We've always played them tough. I mean, that the old Central Division, it was a good division, with Houston and us and and Pittsburgh, and so it was. I mean, it was. We were kind of Cleveland. We kind of beat each other up in the division.
Yeah.
Of course, Pittsburgh, they had some great teams, offense and defense, and they've had some great seasons and Super Bowl seasons. And, I think that has certainly elevated, the players that have been there and the players like Lynn Swan and Stallworth and some of these guys. And they got a lot of guys on that team that are very deserving, on the defense and on the offense and offensive line. But, there's some, like I say, you talk to Kenny Anderson, you talk about Ken Riley, these guys deserve it. I don't know how you cannot look at them.
Yeah, you don't seem. I mean, I think you're modest, but I think we could throw you in there too. But like you say, your numbers aren't as probably, when you look at the Kennys and their numbers, I guess you say well, geez, they ought to be in. You got to dig a little bit for your numbers a little bit. I mean, plus two, Isaac, I think your legacy is almost not in numbers, but it is just, your style of play and how it affected, the modern, the evolution of the game, which is kind of that's a hard thing for people to get there. It's a little esoteric, I guess. They get their arms.
Right.
It's easy to get arms around numbers,
Right.
You know.
Yeah, I mean, it's the game has changed, and I think with our offense and some of the things that they used to do to us wide receivers back then, it has changed the game. And like I say, it's a passing league now, and it just wasn't back then. And, we threw the ball, but not like they're throwing it around now. I mean, if you caught 40 passes, 45 passes, 50 passes, you caught a lot of passes. Running backs and tight ends and they're catching, 80, 90 receivers are catching over 100 balls. I don't even think we were targeted that much during the season, let's long have an opportunity to catch that many balls.
Well, just, you got the Bengals going to their final game of the year Sunday against the Ravens, and Tyler Boyd has basically missed the last two games, and he's leading the team with 78 catches.
Right.
Higgins, we talked about. I guess you haven't seen much of Higgins, right? A rookie. I don't know if you've caught his act at all.
I hadn't been able to see a whole lot here. I saw, like I said, I was able to see the first couple of games, and then I saw the Monday night game.
Yeah.
But being out here on the West Coast, they tend to play some of the West Coast teams out here a little more. So I don't get to see my Bengals. I guess I'm gonna have to subscribe to the what is that? What is the NFL channel or the
right? Yeah, the red zone
I can,
and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it looks like he's going to be around a little bit. Higgins is going to be.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to having you take a look at him. Obviously, you know all about AJ, and
Yes.
You've Chad, AJ. You've always been gracious talking about those guys down through the years. I know AJ's a guy. We talked about this the other day. If you had to pick a guy to run next to you for the all-time Bengals team, it'd be AJ, right?
I think so. We've had some good, there's some good guys there, but I think AJ, I really liked AJ. I liked Chad as well, and I'll give Collinsworth a nod. I mean, we were well, but those guys, they got some, they can stretch that field.
Yeah.
But AJ, I really liked AJ when he played. I really liked him. I was very impressed with him, the way he played and the way he carried himself.
He's a he's a guy a little bit bigger than you, I guess, right? You weren't that. He's 6'4". He's a basketballish guy, and
he's rangy. Got a lot of range.
Yeah, right. And I know you liked his ability to go pluck it, right?
Oh yeah, no, he can go get it anywhere you throw it. I mean, he can go deep. He'll go across the middle. He'll go. He can run all the routes, and he gets open. I liked him. I really enjoyed watching him. Watching him play. He was an exciting player.
Chad was also Chad had a different style too. He was a guy. He made his money. It seemed like, his first pop off the line of scrimmage. That he'd get off the line of scrimmage, nobody would touch him.
Yeah, Chad was quick. I mean, he was another guy. I mean, Chad. Both of those guys were excellent. I mean, I either playing side by side with any of those guys would have been, you'd been great. But Chad was also another guy that was quick and fast, and he can go get it. He flat out go get it.
Would we have to put Chad in the slot?
I think we can put Chad in the slot. We can put Cris Collinsworth in the slot. But I like to have those four guys, and now that you look and you see four wide receivers out there, all the wide receivers they have out there now, I'd like to get those two guys with Cris and myself. I think we would have fun out there.
Oh yeah, it's they throw it a little bit more now. What, Isaac? The thing that's amazing is you ran. You were this close to making the Olympic team in '72, right? It was you you were a 100-yard man, right?
I was 100. I ran 100 and the 220. Yeah, yeah.
And so and then
I was actually supposed to go to the Olympic trials in 72.
right.
But what happened, I ran second in our championships. But what happened is I transferred from Cal, Berkeley. This was my senior year. I transferred to San Diego State. And it was been my senior year. And I was moving from running back to wide receiver. Yeah. And I was a football player first. And if I had made the Olympic team, which I felt comfortable that I could make that team in 72. I would have missed the first part of the football season. And yeah. I like I say, I was a football player first, and that was my first love. And so I would not go to the trials, bump people out that are track guys only, knowing that if I make the team, I wouldn't go. I was going to stay. I would stay here, and I was not going to miss the first part of the football season.
What was that transition like? Change of position. It's so late in your career. You know, I mean, did you think that would damage your shot to go to the pros, or did you think it would help your chance?
You know what? I actually thought it helped me. You know, when I was, I probably did more blocking than anything when I was at Cal as a running back. Wow. It's hard to believe.
He wouldn't have liked that.
A lot of blocking, a lot of running. It was, but you know, it was an easy transition because when I moved out to wide receiver, I said, man, this is easy. This is a vacation out here. You know? Right. Running in the line, hitting linemen and linebackers. Yeah. But you know, I went down there with Don Coryell. If you remember Don Coryell,
another guy who should be in the Hall of Fame.
Yes, I absolutely. I went down there with him, and they moved me to a wide receiver. You know, and I played my senior year as a wide receiver, and really got into it, and really did my homework, and they worked with me. You know, out down there, and played 1 year, and I was first wide receiver picked in the draft in 73.
Right. Well, you were supposed to go to Cleveland, right?
That's what I was told. I was supposed to go to Cleveland. Cleveland was going to draft me. I didn't realize that Cincinnati even had any interest.
Oh no, you didn't have no idea.
Yeah, but you know, I think Cincinnati drafted. I think I was 15, and then Cleveland was the 16th pick. Well, Cincinnati picked me in the first round, and then right after that, Cleveland picked Steve Holden out of Arizona State. Mm-hmm. So they took another wide receiver. Yeah. So yeah, they were going to. They had plans on picking me.
That's amazing because
the way it worked out the way it did.
I mean, you 23 games against them. You had 12 touchdowns, and averaged 18 yards per catch. You guys went 14-9 in games in those 23 games. But yeah, they know all about Isaac Curtis in Cleveland.
Yeah, we had some good games against Cleveland. They had a tendency to want to play a lot of man. It just didn't work out well for them.
No, not when they're playing the man.
but we had some good games, Kenny, and we always had a good game plan. And that was always a really intense week, you know, with the in-state rivalry plus you know, Paul Brown's history in Cleveland. So that was always a very tense week of preparation when we got ready to play Cleveland Browns.
So it was pretty clear that Paul was pretty, you know, did Paul ever talk about it, or was it just pretty clear that, you know?
No, but you know what? He was more vocal. I mean, even from the individual, I mean, even sitting in practice, you know, coming up to you, would come up and say things, you know, we're going to have a good game, you know, or this play here, I think this is going to be something going to be good. But he was energized, you know, and you could feel it, and you sensed it and you can feel it.
Yeah.
You know, but
I could talk to you all night, but I don't think Mildred would like that. So thank her for letting us use your computer. And
absolutely. Well, it's good talking to you.
It's great catching up with you, and I'm glad that Bengals get a chance to see the prototype, get a chance to listen to because you know, you aren't around very much. This is almost like getting Greta Garbo or J.D. Salinger on on the podcast. It's huge because
Yeah, now that I'm back out here on the West Coast, but we're going to get back out that way. We're going to start spending a lot more time, with the virus situation
Right.
and what situation is going on right now. It's really kept us out of Cincinnati because I would have been spending a lot more time in Cincinnati this year. I haven't had an opportunity to get there this year, because of everything that was going on. And
right.
I missed Cincinnati. I missed the people and all my friends and
Right.
that are there. And I look forward to it. But we're going to start spending more time in Cincinnati.
Well, we miss you. You're always welcome at the Paul, and I can't wait to see you. Can't wait to see you. Thank you very much again.
All right. Good. Thanks for having me.